Hello, everyone. Finally, we are on the third and last phase of the risk mitigation strategy and insight lessons. Thank you for your patience and thank you for staying with me. So, here, let's review some best practices in implementation. You know, plans, strategies are just what they are unless they are effectively implemented. Sometimes implementation is the key. So here I present some um, strategies that can help in ensuring proper implementation. 6 of them. The first one is continuous improvement. We must become learners or learning organizations to ensure success because there's always room for improvement. So one way to ensure that, or some ways to ensure that is one, implementing plan, do, check, act circle. So it's a cyclical circle. You plan, you execute, you check the effectiveness of your plans as you execute them, you take measures to fill the gap if anyone exists, and you continue cyclically because it's a continuous thing. That's why we say continuous improvement. The second approach is regular review of your controls effectiveness. As you put things in place, you want to see how effective they are. And if they are not effective, you need to take corrective actions. Then you document lessons learned from incidents. Lesson learned document becomes a reference point for the future. Then you can adapt and change your strategies based on the outcomes uh, of your lesson learned from the system or from across the landscape. Stakeholder engagement is another thing that is so important in risk management. No organization is alone. You are never siloed. There are internal stakeholders, there are external stakeholders. So ensuring that everybody is on the same page is important for success because it could also involve some regulatory compliance issues. To do this effectively, first, you ensure regular communication of risk status to all concerned stakeholders, depending on their level of stake in the business. You ensure clear reporting to leadership. Not only to leadership within your organizations, you may also have regulatory requirement to report to regulatory agencies that monitor the industry. You ensure cross-functional risk committees. As a matter of fact, this is very important because risk can emanate from any part of the organization. So because of that, you want to ensure that um, you bring people together from different functions to talk about risk. And when they work within the committee, it becomes so important for them to also take feedback back to their respective departments. Also ensuring two-way feedback channels are important. So there has to be free flow from top down, down to top. Then maintaining, keeping an eye on your key risk indicators are very important. First, you define measurable KRIs for monitoring so that you know what you are focusing your attention on, you know what you are monitoring. You establish a threshold or thresholds and triggers. Then you create automated tracking dashboards. Again, you review these regularly and recalibrate the system to ensure efficiency and effectiveness. Risk culture is another thing. It becomes imperative to create a risk-aware culture across the board so that everybody within the organization is aware of what risk the organization faces and how to mitigate them. So first, you ensure employee awareness training and this must be on an ongoing basis. When I talk about employees, top management are also employees too. They too must also be trained to become risk aware. Integrate risk in every decision making process. So before a decision is made, you assemble a team and look at the pros and cons and ask yourself the what if questions. Then recognition for proactive reporting will help to create that culture. Then clear accountability structure is important so that everybody knows what their roles and responsibilities are in managing risk as they carry out their day-to-day activities. Also, there are technology that can be integrated to help in ensuring that your risks are properly managed or mitigated. First, the unified GRC platform implementation is one. Automated monitoring solutions, risk data visualization tools, and integration with operational systems so that everything is linked together. Finally, documentation. Documentation is so important. And the best way to do then is first, standardize risk documentation, policy and procedure maintenance, scenario planning records, and control testing evidence. These records must be properly kept so that they can be referred to. Again, implementation cycle usually start from assessing your risk or assessing the situation by ensuring you evaluate current state of things. Then you plan by developing strategies that will help mitigate the identified risk. You execute by implementing those controls. Then you monitor. You want to track how effective your systems are. And finally, you review. Ensuring periodic review is crucial. So, having gone through the various strategies that can be used to mitigate your risk as an organization or as an individual, let's now look at some case studies. Our first case study is based on the healthcare industry, and it has to do with data protection and compliance risk. So here is how a major healthcare provider mitigated patient data risk while ensuring regulatory compliance. So first, the challenge. Here's the challenge. A leading hospital network faced increasing risks related to patient data security and regulatory compliance. One, vulnerable legacy system with potential security gaps, inconsistent compliance practices across facilities, rising costs of data breaches in healthcare sector, expanding telehealth services, creating new risk vectors. The solution they implemented is this. Implementation of comprehensive risk mitigation program. First, they conducted thorough risk assessment using NIST framework. They deploy advanced encryption and access control. They establish enterprise-wide compliance protocols, and they implemented regular security training for all staffs, everybody involved. Guess the result. 98% reduction in security incidents. That's huge. 100% regulatory compliance achievement. And finally, 2.8 million annual savings in risk-related costs. That was huge. And according to Chief Information Security Officer of the hospital, he said the structural risk mitigation approach transformed our security posture and brought peace of mind to our patients and stakeholders. Interesting, isn't it? The key takeaway is combining technological solutions with comprehensive training and clear governance structure created a sustainable risk management culture for the hospital. And these results are wonderful results. This should motivate you and your team to mitigate your risk. The financial service, this case study is based on the financial service setup, market and operational risk mitigation. This is how a global financial institution transforms its risk management approach. Here is the challenge. A global investment bank faces multiple risk challenges that threaten profitability and stability. So the challenges are increasing market volatility, impacting trading positions, rising operational risks from a legacy technology system, fragmented risk data across regional business units, and regulatory pressure for enhanced risk reporting and control. Here is the solution. First, they develop AI-powered predictive analytics for early risk detection. They consolidated global risk data into a unified dashboard. They implemented stress testing and scenario analysis protocols. And they established cross-functional risk governance committee. Again, here is the result. 32% reduction in risk-weighted assets, 18.5 million annual savings in operational losses, 75% faster risk identification and response. And the chief risk officer has this to say. He said, our new integrated risk approach has not only strengthened resilience, but created competitive advantage through more confident decision making. Here's the key takeaway. By leveraging predictive analytics and implementing proactive risk management frameworks, this financial institution was able to transform risk mitigation from a defensive necessity to a strategic advantage. How beautiful is that? In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, here are some key takeaways and some actionable recommendations. First, proactive risk management. Risk management must never be reactive, it must be proactive. Effective risk mitigation requires identifying and addressing risk before they materialize into significant issues. Different framework can be used. Last week we talked extensively on the COSO ERM and the ISO 31000 frameworks. This framework provides comprehensive foundations that should be adapted to your organization's specific needs. You can also leverage technology. Modern tools and AI-driven analytics significantly enhance risk identification, assessment, and mitigation capabilities. Again, creating a risk culture in your organization is crucial. Successful risk management requires a culture where everyone understands their role in identifying and mitigating risk. Here are some actionable steps you can take. Conduct first and foremost a comprehensive risk assessment. Risk assessment that involve identifying, evaluating risk across all business areas, focusing on both current and emerging threats, and also opportunities. Implement a risk management framework. You can adapt or adopt the COSO ERM or the ISO 31000, but you must ensure you tailor this to your specific organizational needs and risk profile. Then you deploy advanced risk tools. You must invest in cybersecurity platforms and AI-powered analytics to enhance real-time monitoring capabilities. Again, you need to foster a risk-aware culture across the board by establishing training programs, clear communication channels, and stakeholder engagement frameworks that will allow you to communicate across the board. Here, I propose some next steps for implementation. Within the next 30 days, complete your initial risk assessment. Make it as robust and as detailed as possible. Within the next 90 days, implement a framework, either the ISO framework or the COSO ERM framework. Within the next 180 days, ensure you have a full program integration for your organization. This will be so helpful, and you will be happy you take this initiative. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you for your attention. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything. Thank you. God bless you.